Hey guys, it's your boy Jared here from the Cardfight Club. Just decided to bring you guys a deck tech today. I know it's been a while since I posted something, but with COVID and life, it's been hard to try and get out there and do some stuff. But I recently picked up some Silver Dust Blaze stuff, and I decided to build a deck. And as you can see from the sleeves, yeah, I'm building a Kagero deck, and it's not the X or the Cross or whatever. It's actually going to be Blademaster. I feel that this deck is really underrated. It's been kind of overshadowed by the Cross. So I wanted to build it, show you guys my take on it. I've also been testing this deck a lot, and I really love the results, so I wanted to bring it to you. Like I said, with all these deck techs here, all this stuff is just a template for all you guys to look at and pick apart and do what you guys need to do. This is how I'm building the deck, but this doesn't exactly mean how you need to build the deck. So we're going to do like we normally do, work the grade 3s all the way down to the 0s with some explanation in between. And then at the end of the video, I'll most likely probably just give you my thoughts on the whole X versus Blademaster debate. So, starting with the grade 3s, we're going to play 4 copies of Blademaster Souen. So, Souen's ability is on Vanguard, continuous ability if your opponent has no rear guards. Both him and your vision tokens get +10. And also, he has another ability, activate, discard 2 cards from your hand, manifest your vision token, and if you have Doha and Gar on the battlefield, you just wipe out your opponent's rear guards. Someone is a much needed upgrade to this deck. Also, having the ability to make your vision token without relying on Doha and Garn is really clutch, because there's going to be certain times where you're not going to have them, and still being able to get your skill off and get the 4 drive checks, even if it's just to help with card economy, is really good. And also having the +10, although it might not be as impactful, say, as old Blademaster getting the +5 in crit, but being able to power himself and the vision token makes guarding harder. And yeah, I mean, there's nothing more to say about it. This is the only Blademaster you're going to be playing in the deck. Like I said, the other Blademaster is kind of trash. So we don't want to play bricks in our deck, and we don't want to play cards that are reliant on really anything. I played 2 more grade 3s in the deck, so I only play 6. So I'm going to be playing 2 copies of Dragonic Ishtak. So its ability is continuous Vanguard or rear. If your opponent has no rear guards, he himself gets +10. So he's another 23k attacker to help on the front row. Also, activated skill, Counterblast 1. Choose one of your opponent's rear guards and retire them. As long as you have another grade 3 on the Vanguard, so either himself or Blademaster or a vision token, because vision tokens are a grade 3. You can retire any number, like you can retire one of your opponent's rear guards, and that's not a once per turn skill. So if you're in a situation where you have, like, I don't know, 3 or 4 counterblasts and your opponent doesn't have that much of a board, and you don't have Doha and Garin, you can use this to clear out the field to get your +10 to everything, making all your swings a little bit more dangerous. Yeah, we only play 6. I don't really see any other grade 3s we want to play in this deck. Alternatives to this is you could probably play that Book of Battle Tactics, I think it's called, or whatever, the order card. If you don't know what that card is, it's pretty much a card that you can counterblast 3, soul blast 3, and your entire front row gets +10. You draw 3 cards. It takes up a grade 3 slot, so that's kind of why I'm not really super okay with playing it. And it doesn't, in my opinion, doesn't really add any utility to keep the overall goal of the deck to retire working. So that's why I don't play it. But granted, like I said, you guys can switch this out and play the book if you would like. But I just want to keep the tempo going in my favor, so I always want to make sure I'm retiring things. And also, even though we're only playing 6 grade 3s, you still see all your grade 3s. So for the grade 2s, 4 copies of Wyvern Strike Doha. One of your major players in the deck. Doha's ability is on rear guard, you can counterblast 1. Search your deck for 1 card called Wyvern Strike Garin and put it on the field. It's a nice way of filtering out your deck. He calls out his partner. And also, the more important ability is his continuous ability, where if your opponent has no rear guards, they can't guard with normal units. This card is really good because it alters your opponent's guarding ability, where they have to always worry about the Doha, because if they use all their 10k, 15k, and I guess now 30k shields on you know, your Vanguard and your Vision token, they can't guard this. So they have to really worry about what they're guarding, because at the end of all the Vanguard swings, there's still a Gar and Doha column coming at them, and they might not be able to guard it, especially if you're putting crits or power on it for whatever triggers you get. We want to run 4 because we want to see it literally as soon as possible. We have ways of searching it out, but you know, just there's no reason not to play 4. So we play 4. Speaking of searching, we play 3 copies of Dragon Dancer Faja. Her ability is on Rearguard Circle or Vanguard Circle. You can look at the top 5 cards of your library. Sorry, this isn't Magic. Top 5 cards of your deck and look for a Garin or Doha and bring it to your hand. And also on Rearguard Circle, if your opponent has no Rearguard, she gets +5. So she's a nice 15k beater. She's nice early game to search for your Dohas and your Garins, just so you know might have to counterblast for it, and you know you're still filtering out your deck. So you know deck thinning is game winning. So you know we run 3. We don't need to play 4. I tested 4. After a certain point, these just end up becoming fodder for Blademaster. So you know, you get what you can out of them, and then we have other, you know, utility grade 2s that we want to run, so filling them up with a bunch of Dragon Dancers is particularly necessary. Speaking of which, we played 3 copies of Berserk Dragon, tried and true. Ability on Vanguard or Rearguard, Counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1, retire a Rearguard. If this happens to be on Vanguard, when you do it, you get to draw a card, and then it has a passive ability. If your opponent has no Rearguards, it gets +3. So it's 13k attacker. This is still good early game. Getting that turn 2 draw is just still overall very good. And you know, having more ways to retire stuff is still really important. And you know, the grade 2 and grade 1 lineups, I mean, they're good, but they're not overall like super impressive. So I mean, just play what works. Running 3 is fine. I mean, you can bump it up to 4 if you want. I mean, I haven't really seen an issue with 3. I still always see it, so there's that. And then lastly, for the grade 2s, we're playing 2 copies of Torrid Cannon Dragon. Torrid Cannon Dragon's ability is Vanguard or Rearguard, Counterblast 1. Choose a normal unit and put it to the bottom of your deck, and then you can choose one of your opponent's grade 2 or lower Rearguards and retire it. So more retiring, return units to the deck, which is great when you're trying to return your Dohas and your Garins back. Also, the other ability is if you happen to have 4 or less cards in your hand when you use Torrid Cannon's ability, you can draw a card. It comes up sometimes, not particularly as much with this deck because your hands is usually pretty big. But, I mean, you can do some cute plays where if you discard to 4 cards with Blademaster, then you can use Torrid Cannon, send something back, draw a 5th card, and then when you do your double drive checks, you go up to 9 cards in hand. You know, some cute stuff like that. We're really only using it for the retire and sending some stuff back. But, you know, the draw does come up. But once again, having more ways to just continuously retire Rearguards without relying on having your Doha and your Gar on the field is always very, very, very good. So yeah, these are the grade 2s. You know, pretty straightforward stuff. And then for the grade 1s, we're playing, you know, 4 copies of Garin, Wyvern Strike Garin. This is going to be pretty much your real only booster, since he's able to be called out with Doha. His ability is, during your turn, if your opponent has no Rearguards, it gets +5, so he's a 13k booster. Also, if he's boosting Doha, it has another ability where if the attack being boosted hits, you counterblast 1, draw a card, and Soul Charge. The Soul Charge really doesn't come up that often. It's not that big of a deal, but the drawing is pretty gnarly. So, you know, just advantage. And we don't particularly go through Counterblast a lot, so we're most likely going to be using our skills for, you know, Ishtak, Garin, maybe Berserk Dragon or Torrid Cannon if it's necessary, if we're not continuously board wiping for free. But yeah, I mean, you want to run 4, you run 4 Doha, you can search them out, they call each other out. Garin crosses out, so yeah, you just want to run 4. Yeah, I mean, no more no less on that one. So then 4 copies of Lava Flow Dragon. She's your grade 3 searcher. I mean, enough said. Top 5 cards of your deck. Look for a reveal a grade 3. Put in your hand, discard a card. But also it has another continuous ability where if your opponent has no rear, 1 or less Rearguards or no Rearguards, it gets +5. So it's a 13k booster. It's good. It's good early game. And you know, if you're really trying to filter your deck out late game, it's good. You know, just making sure that you're always going to find your grade 3 is really important. So that's what we run for. Yeah, I mean, I don't have anything more to say about that. You know, just run 4 grade 3 searchers. If you feel like you can go get away with playing less, or if you're playing more grade 3s, then, you know, particularly you don't need to play 4. So, but for me personally, I feel like playing 4, so I'm gonna play 4. 3 copies of Airmo. I mean, a free draw is a free draw. It gets plus 3k when it's boosting, so, you know, it's good for hitting numbers. The adherent draw is probably the only reason why I'm keeping it in the deck. The counter charge is okay, but it doesn't really come up as often. But, you know, being able to have an adherent draw and adherent counter charge is good. You know, keeping resources is always important. If you don't want to play this, you know, you're more than welcome. You can sit here and play was it Sable Dragonute for the early turn, the early pressure on hit draw, and then basically Dragonic does the same ability as Airmo, except you don't get the counter charge and the power boost when boosting. So it's really your preference. I like the idea that having a counter charge is, you know, good, because you never know, it could come in clutch maybe. But you know, this is kind of like a flex spot. You can pretty much play whatever you want. Then I play 2 copies of Wyvern Strike Mabaus. Or Mabuz, or how you ever say it. Basically, this is another guard restrict card. So as long as your opponent has no rear guards, your opponent has to guard with 2 or more cards from hand, and that's pretty consistent. Like, you're gonna always be blowing up rear guards, unless they're just not calling stuff. Either way, this still works. You put this behind your Vanguard, behind your Vision token. That's a guaranteed 2 cards from hand, and also it works in regards to perfect guards as well. So if they use a protect gift or a perfect guard and discard, and they have to discard an additional time to guarding, so they're getting you know, you're getting rid of 3 cards instead of 2, so it's really good. If you want, you can run 4 of this. You know, you can figure out what you want to take out of these grade 1s to add 4. But then lastly, my other grade 2 is Dragon Dancer Soja. Her ability is on rear guard, Soul Blast 1, choose any number of Garans and Dohas from your drop zone and shuffle them back into the deck, and it gets 5. It gets 5,000. It gets 5 for every 1 cent back. So it's a nice way to, you know, make a beefy column. It's not. It's really only here for the utility of sending stuff back. To be completely honest, I'm not the biggest fan of this card. I like it for its utility. But overall, I mean, if you wanted, you can take these out and play more of these, or maybe play some Dragonutes. I like just being able to have multiple options to keep my deck running, and, you know, the power could be nice. So like I said, like this entire deck is just a template for you to work with. So yeah, those are the grade 1s. Then for 0s, I play 7 criticals, 5 draws, and 4 heals. 7-5 is a good ratio for me. I don't think 6-6 is necessary, because you draw so much. And I'm obviously using 4 of the draw PGs. I'm not a real big fan of the Sentinel critical trigger for Kagero. I've been testing it, and it's nice and all, but I just prefer to just have the regular PG on me in times of great peril. And so, I mean, you know, if you want to play that, you know, you can. But for me, I like the trigger lineup that I have. And then, you know, 4 heals, you don't want to die. And we have a brand new art with Mother Orb, so I mean, why not? You know, preference, obviously. 7-5, really good ratio. And, you know, we're playing Force, and you know, Force 1 rarely ever comes out. Force 2 is usually your primary. I mean, there's like no more, no less on that, really. And then, you know, our starter, just choose your generic Kagero starter. They've all been errated, so you can get the quick shield. So I like this one because I guess it's on theme with Blademaster. But yeah, I mean that's the deck, guys. Overall, I really love this deck. I think it's very strong. I think it's very slept on. In the matter of what I think is the strongest between Blademaster and Lacrosse, honestly, I think the opinion is either way. I think that both decks are strong. I think they both have their faults. I think although moving forward with the current metagame that we're shifting into, with things like Yasui coming out, Pale Moon coming out, um, and Dark Irregulars, and a couple other strong decks that are coming that are going to be making their presence known in the meta. I think overall Blade Master is probably going to be the stronger deck. They like I said, they both have their faults. With the cross, you get that explosive kill turn if you're swinging 3 times with criticals, and if it works, and you win. There you go, GG, no re. But if they don't, if they don't die and they're still in it, then now you gotta kind of hope for the next one. And same thing can be said for with Blade Master is much more of a grindy deck, a little bit slower, but a lot more. I would say a much more consistent burn over time. You're just snowballing until you get into a situation where your opponent can't really handle it anymore. The cross can play off fumes. Like if you're just not getting anything, if you can continuously get your restands off and just keep swinging with crits 3 times in a row, you'll eventually just cheese the win out. Although if you run out of the ends, your deck just pretty much shuts off. The argument could be said for Blade Master if you take away Doha and Garn, the deck shuts off. But as you saw from my profile, we have ways of making sure that we're able to get some retires off. And, at a certain point, your opponent won't be able to continuously call rear guards. So you're going to be able to maximize your deck's potential a lot easier with Blade Master than with the cross. The cross's biggest turn is if you're able to, get the entire combo piece going where you make it super huge, get that grade 2 Wyvern strike that works with the end where they discard with 2 or more cards from hand, and you just force them to take all the damage and they win. But like I mentioned previously, if that doesn't work, you're kind of cucked, and especially with the way that the decks are moving with these next couple releases is going to be a lot faster and a lot harder, and the cross might not be able to keep up. And at least with Blade Master, having that constant retire and 4 drive checks and guard restrict, and being able to always maximize your hand size, I think Blade Master overall will be the stronger deck. But that remains to be seen. So I don't know. Maybe you guys give your opinions down in the comments if there's any, or if you have any suggestions for the deck that you guys want to try. We're more than welcome to take you guys' opinions and put that into consideration. And like I said, these decks are just templates for you guys to work on and make these play as you wish. So with that being said, I'm Jared. This is my Blade Master deck, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.